Mismor LeDavid, Adonai roi lo echsar, Binot asher yarbitzeni al me'menuchot yanachaleni, Nafshi yishovei, Yanacheni v'magle tzedek למען שמו, גם כי הלך בגיץ על מוות, לא ירא רע, כי אתה עמדי. שבטך ומשענתך המה ינחמוני. תערוך לפני שולחן, נגד צורריי, דשנת בשמן ראשי, כוסי רוויה, אך טוב וחסד ירדיפוני, כל ימי חיי, ושבתי בבית אדוני, לאורך ימים. I've chanted for you the words of our 23rd Psalm. On these most difficult days, days when we are in search of some degree of understanding, some sort of comfort, we often turn to the psalmist. And so I ask you now to recite these words with me. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He guideth me in straight paths for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou hast anointed my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. In the rising of the sun and in its going down, we will remember him. In the blowing of the wind and in the chill of winter, we will remember him. In the opening buds and in the rebirth of spring, we will remember him. In the blueness of sky and in the warmth of summer, we will remember him. In the rustling of leaves and in the beauty of autumn, we will remember him. In the beginning of the year and when it ends, we will remember him. When we are weary and in need of strength, we will remember him. And when we are lost and sick at heart, we will remember him. When we have joys we yearn to share, we will remember him. So long as we live, he too will live, for he is now a part of us, as we remember Ernest Mishne. To you, Wendy, to his children, Kimberly, Sean, Samantha, and also to Kimberly, and to his grandchildren, Emma and Chloe, and to all the members of the family, to so many dear and cherished friends. We've joined together today to remember, but also to celebrate the life of your beloved Ernie. We are taught by our sages that birth is a beginning and death a destination, and life is a journey, from childhood to maturity, from youth to age, from innocence to awareness and ignorance to knowing, from foolishness to discretion and then, perhaps, to wisdom, from weakness to strength, or strength to weakness, and often back again, from health to sickness, and back we pray to health again, from offense to forgiveness, from loneliness to love, from joy to gratitude, from pain to compassion, from grief to understanding, from fear to faith. From defeat to defeat to defeat, until looking backward or ahead, we see that victory lies not at some high place along the way, but in having made the journey, stage by stage, a sacred pilgrimage. Birth is a beginning and death a destination, and life is a journey, a sacred pilgrimage to life everlasting. Ernie's journey began here in Cleveland. He was born in 1933, a time when our nation faced some of its greatest challenges. Ernie and his brother Mickey, of blessed memory, were quite young when their father George remarried a lovely woman named Mildred. Mildred and George eventually brought 2 more sons into the world, and this family, Father George and Mother Mildred, and now their 4 sons, found their way to survive in these financially difficult post-Depression times in America. Ernie was an athlete, and playing on the field or on the court was, in a way, his escape from any struggles his family knew. It was his way out. He was passionate in pursuing athletics, and he was respected by his fellow teammates. After attending Roosevelt Junior High School, Ernie went on to Cleveland Heights High, where he lettered in 3 sports: baseball and basketball and football. He was also active in his high school fraternity, BAT. And as Ernie was preparing to enter into his senior year of high school, his father, George, bought a bar in Chardon, and so the family moved further east. And Ernie finished high school at Chardon High, where his basketball team was named All-Ohio and competed in the state championship, which was held, of all places, Madison Square Garden in New York City. Throughout his teen years, Ernie was always a hard worker. He maintained an excellent work ethic. Following his graduation from high school, he matriculated to Western Reserve University on an athletic scholarship, and this great work ethic paid off as he worked his way through college and also excelled in pursuing his degree in business. As his college career came to an end, Ernie enlisted in the United States Air Force, and he was trained as a pilot to fly jets. He was stationed in Germany most of the time, where he actually became fluent in German. He attended Heidelberg University while there, studied, and obtained a master's degree in economics. And while in Germany, Ernie also met Richard Meliand, a man who would become a best friend and one of his dearest pals. Upon his return to the States, Ernie settled in Florida, where he entered into the world of automotive sales. Eventually, he found his way back to Ohio and began his career with Jaguar Cleveland. Now, I want to share with you that there was a lovely young lady named Wendy Walton. She was out to dinner one evening. She actually was on a date. And she and her date wandered into Jaguar Cleveland. You see, Wendy was in the market for a new car. As another salesman was assisting Wendy, Ernie spotted her from afar. He said to a few of his buddies, his co-workers, "I'm going to get her." And his buddies assured him in no uncertain terms, "She is way, way out of your league." Wendy, you returned to Jaguar Cleveland maybe a few days later for a test drive, and it was Ernie who was there to assist. He asked you out for a first date. You went to Nighttown, where you assured Ernie you were not looking for anything serious. And that not-so-serious thing was a courtship that lasted 5 years. A deep friendship was formed, and a strong love began to grow. And you and Ernie married on September 9th, 1976, and his passing on September 8th was just one day before your 42nd wedding anniversary. Wendy, from the stories you shared with me the other day, it sounds like you and Ernie really had a lot of fun. There were the family road trips with the kids, the special times in December, how you looked forward to sharing the holidays, Hanukkah and Christmas together. You loved to go antiquing, He loved it with you. You went to all the flea markets. You were both into vintage cars. Maybe he pulled you along a little bit that way. And he loved to drive the car in the Gates Mills annual 4th of July parade. And then the travels, the motorcycle trips. And I'm told that Ernie was still riding his motorcycle up until about 3 years ago. Your visits traveling the world together, Wendy, to England and France, to Italy and Germany, Belgium and Spain, and how the two of you loved visiting the Florida Keys. In describing him to me, Wendy, your beloved, you said of him that he was loving and caring, that he had a great sense of humor, while most of his jokes were pretty corny. And you fully supported him in 1984 as he purchased Hillbrook Country Club. In taking ownership of Hillbrook, it sounds like Ernie went above and beyond. He went out of his way to make sure that Hillbrook would become a place, because it wasn't always a place, but that it would become a place that was open and welcoming to everyone, regardless of religion, ethnicity, and the color of their skin. And when he wasn't working, and when the two of you weren't traveling the world, together you loved to entertain friends and family at your home. Wendy, you were the one who always took such pride in creating a beautiful table in your beautiful home. And it was Ernie, with his gourmet chef skills, his brisket, the lobster, the beef bourguignon, and I should note, his daughters shared with me, I believe it was Samantha who told me, that in his early days as a single father, he was a one-trick pony. He made chicken cacciatore. That was his meal. All the time. That was his go-to. But boy, did his skills really soar. Wendy, you and his children knew, and you saw the joy that Ernie got from creating a delicious meal and sharing it with those whom he loved. This gave him a lot of satisfaction. And to have that skill to welcome people into your home and make them feel part of the family is truly a gift that Ernie also possessed. Your Ernie was a lover of the arts, especially the Cleveland Ballet. He performed the non-dancing role of the Major Domo in their annual production of the Nutcracker, and he did this for nearly a decade. And then he pulled his son Sean into the act, and his pal Harlan Diamond, as Sean and Harlan would also grace the stage with the Cleveland Ballet in several productions. Wendy, you and his children recalled that Ernie and his brother Mickey had a shared passion when it came to cars. They even raced cars together for many years. And Ernie had this amazing group of friends, and he loved his poker pals every Wednesday night for so many years. Ernie was a trusted and wonderful friend, a valued friend to so many. If you needed him, he was there. Whatever it was, he was ready to give you his time and his energy and a good ear to listen. He served on the board of the Diamond Advisory of University Hospitals. And his greatest pride and joy, of course, his family. He adored his children. Kimberly, Sean, and Samantha, the love and pride that he felt for you, I'm sure, is immeasurable. And as much as he felt for the three of you, I think it's fair to say that the jewels in his crown, his most precious treasures, were certainly his grandchildren, Emma and Chloe. He was a hands-on grandfather. You called him Papa. You remember so many sleepovers. The middle of the night, I don't even know if your parents know, so I'm sorry if I'm giving away any secrets. But the middle of the night, maybe you were asleep, maybe awake, still in bed. It could be 11 o'clock at night. He'd drag you out of bed and said, "Come on, let's go." And he'd take you to Dairy Queen. These were special times. And I asked you both if he was funny. And you said he was funny, but not because he was funny. He was funny because he would laugh so hard at his own jokes that it became hilarious to you to see how funny he thought he was. Emma, you and your papa shared a love of movies together, especially the old classics. And Chloe, you and your papa would sometimes cook together. You'd love to make what you called comfort food, stir fry. You were close in miles. This is a real gift. But you were also so close in your hearts. and this is something you will treasure your whole life. You know, our tradition teaches us that words which come from the heart enter directly to the heart. And at this time, there are 4 members of the family, his 3 children, and also his granddaughter, who have words in their hearts that they want to share with us now.
So hi everybody, I'm Kimberly, Ernie's oldest daughter. So we're kind of going in that order of age, and I know that he'd be so happy to know you were all here, and thank you for honoring him by your presence. I think he'd just be sad that you weren't all coming to the house for something to eat afterward. So thank you for being here. And I just wanted to share, I do some adult education, and one recent assignment I had was writing a love letter to my father. So I'd just like to share with you my love letter, Ernie. Whew. Okay. A love letter to my father. Dear Dad, I love you so much. I love that no matter what was going on in life, you always made me laugh. I can still hear your loud, hearty laugh in my mind. It's what I'll miss about you most. I love you for working until you were lying in a hospital bed and for instilling your same work ethic in me. You worked diligently and courageously to change your life around, feel worthy, and to be a better man. You reinvented yourself more than once for your family, and I love you for that too. I loved and share your affection for dogs. I love the unabashed way that you would come home from work and roll on the floor with your dog before ever acknowledging the rest of us. And the way you carried your pup on your belly like a baby. You nurtured all of us effortlessly with the same joy and heartfelt deep passion. I loved and will never forget you carrying me on your shoulders in 1969 to see the Planet of the Apes. You made me feel like I was the most important person in the world at that moment, and you always made your friends and loved ones feel the same way. I loved when we would get together with cousins or family and you would play guitar. I remember vividly singing songs like Trailers for Sale or Rent, and when you'd forget the words, you just smack your hands on the guitar with unbridled enthusiasm. I loved riding around with you in Morgans, Jaguars, motorcycles, and all kinds of convertibles. As a small child, you would put me in your lap and we'd pretend I was the one steering. I even loved when you picked me up to practice driving in a parking lot with a 12-cylinder Jaguar, although I was terrified. Per your directive, I got a job at a gas station to earn money to help get a car. It warms my heart knowing the station still stands, and I remember how we always joked about it as we drove by. I love you for stopping my hitchhiking by making sure I had my own cars, albeit more conservative, practical transportation. I love that you had my back as a teen and helped me stay out of trouble as best you could with your natural, permissive nature. I loved you for meeting my new boyfriends and always proclaiming, if you hurt my daughter, I'll break your effing legs. You always made me feel safe, protected, and loved. I love you for being thoughtful about my education and care. I love you for always saying how proud you were of me. I love you for encouraging my competitive athletics and for sharing stories of your own prowess on the basketball court. I loved when we'd arrive back at home from the airport and would go into the kitchen together and you'd make me something to eat. I loved the way you called me Kimmy and would say, "What can I get for you, Kimmy?" And then you'd reveal what yummy delicacy you'd prepared that week, saying how much we like to eat the same things. I know your friends loved you for cooking zealously and pushing food on them too. Thank you for always attending my school events, plays, awful instrumental performances, as silly as some were. Recently, you drove all the way to Columbus and back to surprise me and see me compete in a dog show. I didn't love that you wouldn't carry a turned-on cell phone. Even though you couldn't find me, I love you for trying. I brought you home a ribbon, and I love you because you proudly hung it on the garage wall. Thank you for being that kind of dad. Thank you for making me strong enough to handle this today. Thank you for marrying somebody like Wendy. We all know you yearned for someone like her because she provided warmth, love, thoughtfulness, generosity, and kindness. Things I never got from my biological mother. Your love for each other and strong marriage demonstrated that true love really does exist. You both proved love can endure all things. I love that you also proved it sometimes takes a few tries to find your soulmate. Thank you for having time to talk on the phone a couple of days before your stroke, so I had the opportunity to say I love you one last time. I'll miss you terribly. Your daughter, Kimberly.
It was September 9th, 1976. And I was asked to be the best man at my dad's wedding. I was 8 years old. And one of the honors that I got bestowed upon me was to carry the wedding ring to the chapel at Gates Mills Church. We had to cross the old wooden bridge. I had the ring clenched in my hand. And I jokingly asked my dad what would happen if I dropped this ring. He said he'd throw me over and I'd go swimming for it. And he asked me how I felt about today. I said, this is the best day of my life. I'm getting a mother. And I know it was one of his best days as well. On a lighter note, the last 10 years he's been playing poker with a good group of friends. I work with my father. The worst thing that I'd have to hear would be on Thursday morning, he would come in and tell me how he lost a full boat aces high to 4 of a kind or a straight flush, and I had to hear about him complain for 2 days while he, lost that hand. But all I can say is, Dad, I miss you already.
Really, nothing needs to be said. Your presence here alone on a Thursday at 1 o'clock says it all. Says you knew what a wonderful person he was, his kindness, his thoughtfulness. And this week forced me, many of you reaching out, what a special relationship I had with my dad. Also got me thinking about the lessons that I've learned throughout my 49 years with him. The first lesson I learned was when I was in middle school, and I was 12 years old, and he wanted to teach me how to barter to get my needs met. He sent me to school with a box of Ho-Hos and told me to trade them for a sandwich or an apple. Needless to say, I ate the whole box myself and was the envy of all of middle school. The next lesson I learned was when I was in college, and he taught me how to stand up for what I believe in. He was blackballed from a local country club and decided to buy his own and opened it up to everybody. But I think the most important lesson he taught me throughout my life, and that was how to love unconditionally. And it wasn't until, most people would think as a parent that should come so easy. And it wasn't until I had my own kids that I realized how truly hard that is. To really not judge or to question, will you be able to provide for yourself with that kind of degree? Really? But he always just said to me, will that make you happy? Will you be happy? That was really all he cared about. And later in life it became, I'm so proud of you. And I was so proud of him and the person that he was every day to model for me what love and kindness can bring you. So, with that.
So, I've been known to talk for a very long time, so I'm going to keep this really short. So for 14 years, in which I knew my grandfather, I talked to him all the time about how excited I was to grow up and go to college and drive. And even though he'll never see me accomplish such things, I know now that we experience loss in order to make ourselves stronger, and that he wouldn't want us to be sad at his passing, but instead celebratory about the life that he got to live and the people whose hearts he touched.
So with that, we really welcome you all to come back to the house after the service until 5 and from 7 to 9. But I do know this, don't park on Linway, excuse me. That would very much upset my dad because it's grassy. So if you're going to park on Birchwald, which is the street. So, thank you.
Listening to his children speak brought a certain piece of poetry to mind that I want to share with you. These are words written by Ralph Waldo Emerson, and it is on what it means to be a success. Emerson writes, "To laugh often and much, to win the respect of intelligent people and the affection of children, to earn the appreciation of honest critics and endure the betrayal of false friends, to appreciate beauty, to find the best in others, be it by a redeemed social condition, a healthy child, a garden path, to know that one life has breathed easier because you lived. This is to have succeeded." Ernie succeeded. As you're able, I'd like to invite you to rise for the words of the El Mole, the memorial prayer. El Mole Rachamim, Shochen Bamromim, Hamsei Menucha Nechona Tachat Kanfei Hashchina, B'malot Kedoshim Utorim Kezohar Arakia Masyirim, Et Nishmat Yakirenu Shahalacha Leholama, Began Eden Teche Menuchata, Anna Bahrachamim Astirechu, Beseter Knafecha Leolamim, V'titror Bitror Achayim Et Nishmato, Adonai Chunechalato, V'tanuach B'shalom, Al Mishkava V'nomar, Amen. O merciful God, who dwells on high, who is full of compassion, grant perfect rest beneath the shelter of your divine presence among the holy and pure, who shine as the brightness of the firmament. To our dear departed Ernest Mishne, who has gone now to his eternal home, grant that Ernie's memory inspire all of us to noble and consecrated living. And to this we say, Amen. The words of the mourner's Kaddish are recited at funerals, at Yizkor services, and so there are many who believe that the prayer speaks of death and dying. Never once mentions death or dying. Rather, it's a prayer that thanks God, exalts God. And today we find the strength to show our gratitude for God for the blessing of Ernie. And so at this time I invite you to recite these words with me. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, Bi'alma divrach irutei v'yamlich malchutei, B'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, Ba'agola v'zman kariv v'yamru. Amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach leolam olamei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei dekudesha barichu. Le'ela u'le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechamata da amiran v'yalma v'yamru. Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yamru. Amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yamru. Amen. We pray that God, who makes peace in a high place, will send peace and comfort to you, the mourners, to Israel, and to all humankind. Amen. Friends, if there's anyone wishing to make a contribution in memory of Ernie, the family has suggested that you might consider either University Hospitals or the USO, the United Service Organization, which was an organization very dear to Ernie's heart. As Samantha has shared with you, the family will be receiving visitors at the Mishne residence in Lyndhurst, and the address is 2027 Lindway. It's at the end of Birchwald. As you know, parking is on Birchwald, and if anyone needs further guidance in finding the house, in the lobby you'll see there are some maps available. On behalf of the entire family, we thank you for your love and support on this sad but most important day.